You can hang out with me through the internet. Hi, hello, how are you? I'm good, thanks. I have sucked and been avoiding filming because editing takes forever. But you know what? We're back. We're back at it. We're not giving up on YouTube just yet. We're not doing it. So today is Tea Time with Tati. I have my tea here. And I'm about to talk to you guys about movies and films and TV shows because that's what I love. And I want you guys to love the things I'm watching and reading and all that good stuff. Anywho, so first off, the tea that I'm drinking today. As you can see, this is an adorable mug, but that's not the point. The point is, I'm drinking this tea. So every time I do Tea Time with Tati, I'm just gonna let you guys know what kind of tea I'm getting. So this is Tea Pigs is the brand, and this is Earl Grey Strong. So I went to this adorable place like a week ago for brunch with my parents. It's this place called Little Amsterdam, but they had tea and I ordered Earl Grey and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so delicious, and this is the brand it was. So my mom picked some up and it is so good. So that's what I have in my mug. I just have a packet of Earl Grey with honey and a little bit of almond milk. So I'm gonna do one movie, one book, and one TV show. And mostly I'm just gonna tell you guys what it is, give you like a little bit of brief information about it, tell you what I liked about it, what I didn't like about it, and if I would recommend it, who would I recommend it to? First thing I'm gonna talk about is the book I just finished. It's called The Butterfly Garden. It is by Dot Hutchinson. Think like Law and Order SVU, Criminal Minds, that sort of thing. Like you're just like, people are disturbed. I got it on Kindle, so I can't actually hold up the book for you. But if you have Amazon Prime, you can read it for free right now, which is really awesome. The book was published in, I think 2015 or 2016. It's part of a series, but I've only read one of them. This is actually the first book. Really quick read. That's the first thing I can say about it. Like it's super fast. You can finish it in one night if you're like not busy. I finished it in 2 days. It goes by in a good speed too, so you don't really get bored. A little bit about the book. The whole thing is there are these two detectives and they are trying to solve this crime of this place called the Butterfly Garden. I'm not really giving anything away because this is the stuff that's already, like if you get the book or like you have the hardback, this will already say this, but so it's called the Butterfly Garden, but it's this place where this person is collecting, like kidnapping and collecting people and tattooing butterflies on them, so they're like a butterfly garden. So that's already sick and twisted and horrible, but it just gets more horrible. So it's very disturbing, not for the faint of heart, but it's really good. If you're someone who is into like weird, creepy criminals and like what made them do the things that they do sort of thing, and you just like want something like weird and twisted and just like, ugh, like that's the book for you. I say I would recommend it. It gets a little, like some language is a little strange. But all in all, I think the author did really well, and I'm thinking about continuing this series. I've not heard as good of reviews of the other books in the series. I think there's 4, but I don't know if maybe it's just not living up to the first one. So, but it can definitely stand on its own. Like when the book ended, I did not feel like, okay, I have to go get the next one because the ending wasn't satisfying. Like the ending was good by itself. So you could stop there, but it's also a series, so if you wanted to keep on going. Y'all, this tea is so good. It's even better than I remembered it. Anywho, next, my movie for this week is Solo, a Star Wars story. The new Han Solo movie that just came out. Yeah. Me and my dad saw this, and okay. As backstory, I am a bit of a Star Wars fan. I'm not gonna lie to you. I love the movies. I watched all of Clone Wars, like I'm one of them. Like I'm one of those. I'm not gonna say that I have ridiculously high standards, but it's a franchise that I care about and I get disappointed. I don't just be like, I'd be like, I'm upset. In keeping with that, this movie, like, meh. It was really meh. I just thought, this is actually gonna be a good little tale. Like, people love Han Solo. It's gonna be good. You guys know it came out around the end of May. It stars the guy Alden Elner. I don't know how to pronounce it. Donald Glover, otherwise known as Childish Gambino. Amelia Clarke, Woody Harrelson's in it. Paul Bettany. I had high hopes because the cast was really good, and I thought that the story would be really interesting. However, it wasn't. It's not that it was bad, it's just that it was kind of boring. And honestly, and I hate to say this too because clearly it's supposed to be his backstory, but it almost felt like the Han Solo in Solo and the Han Solo in the rest of the Star Wars franchise felt like two different characters. He didn't have any of his like his swagger of his character, and that sort of like high and mighty attitude. Like, he had it a little bit, but for the most part, I just thought, why are you so dumb? Why are you making so many ridiculous decisions, like, the whole time? And then, like, the guy wasn't, he didn't have that, like, rough and rugged dreaminess. He just sort of looked like a regular, like, good guy character in any other, like, franchise. So that was kind of disappointing. And I honestly, like, I could have waited until it came on DVD. And I usually do not say that about any movies, even if they're part of the regular Star Wars story or if they're like side stories like this. Like, it just didn't do it for me. I'm not saying don't see it, definitely see it. I think continue to support the franchise so it can continue going on forever. And there were a couple of cute moments. There were moments that were very funny, and obviously it's beautiful because those movies have large budgets and they can be beautiful like that. It was nice to see representation and see Donald Glover be able to be a part of the franchise, but for the most part, I was less than thrilled. And that's all I have to say about that. Now we're on to the show, and this is, I guess it's technically a show. Maybe I'm reaching, but it's more like a docu-series. There's 6 episodes in it, but this is Wild Wild Country. You have probably heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, I don't know how that's possible, because don't we all have Netflix? It is a docu-series about a town in Oregon. It's hard to explain, but he's like a guru named Rajneesh, and he gets like, and he's teaches meditation and all sorts of things, and has a humongous following, and it's about their lives in Oregon. And that sounds like it could be real normal, but it's really not normal at all, and it's really incredibly wild. Like, Wild Wild Country is because it's buck wild. Like, it's ridiculous. I was shook. Every episode I got more shook. Why? Because it's like, I don't even know how to describe this. The fact that they all wear the same color, to the Caucasian people in Oregon who are not a fan of them, to,
I think I've watched this.
have you seen this?
Were they wearing red?
Yes.
Yeah, that was weird.
So strange.
Didn't they have like sex all the time?
The multiple orgies.
But there were so many orgies.
And deceit and deception. And our queen, Ma Anand Sheila, who was No Hold Bars, takes all the names, you know. This is the most BA sort of boss I've ever seen in my life.
Literally.
It's just like,
that was crazy. She was crazy in all those news things. Sorry, I'm just talking.
I mean, you're not wrong. In Buck Wild, that show. If you say you're the type of person who like is not a big fan of documentaries or like is not big into stuff like that, I get that, because sometimes they can be boring, because sometimes they're just about war or like someone who was in politics and then died. And, like, I get how that's interesting for some people, but it's not interesting to me. So, I feel you. Trust me, I feel you. And my point is, I feel the same way, and yet I was on the edge of my seat during this entire thing. All 6 episodes. People thought it was a cult, and, like, maybe it was a cult, and I'm still not sure if it was a cult. One, it's incredible. 2, it's super weird. And 3, it's just so beautifully filmed. Like, it's seamless between like now and the found footage and interviews and everything. It's just like woven so intricately, and it just like you get so immersed in it. Like, you can see I'm clearly animated talking about it. I clearly need this tea to even talk about Ma Non Sheila at all, because I'm so serious. She had me shook. But for real, you should watch it. It's real interesting. And I would recommend that for anyone who ever thought like Jonestown or like what's that dude's name? Charles Manson? Someone like that. Like, if you thought like, how do people follow someone or stuff like that, or if you even think like gurus and like peace and wellness and stuff is interesting, or if you just find like societal issues interesting, or if you find like an immigration story interesting, or crime or deceit or law enforcement interesting, music and all that stuff, and religion, and if you're interested in stuff and just want to blow your mind a little bit, like, I'd watch it. Watch it. Oh, and back to Han Solo, who would I recommend it for? I would say I'd recommend it to anyone who's a fan of Star Wars, just to go ahead and give it a try, just so you continue to support the franchise, because that's how they continue to be able to make them, is as long as we continue to support them. So I'd say still give it a try, and maybe other people are obsessed with it. I'm not, but you could try it and see if you'll love it. And also, if you're just a big fan of Donald Glover, it's nice to see his very cute face. Or if you're just like nostalgic and just wanna, it does have that like nostalgia feeling, like, wow, like they're children and I got into like this franchise when I was a child, sort of thing. Like, it does give you those sort of vibes. But if you just want like a super good, easy to follow sort of space movie, and you're not even really big into Star Wars, or you're just trying to find something that is gonna be sick, go ahead and rewatch Interstellar. So I'm not gonna end this the way my sister told me to end it, which was yo, 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 that's my video. Yo, yo. I hate that so much. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna say thank you guys all for watching. I hope to be doing these regularly, every week or every other week. I do think I mentioned it in a previous video, but this year I have been doing 50 books that I'm planning on reading for the first time in 2018, and 100 movies that I've never seen that I'm watching in 2018. If you guys are interested in what books I've watched so far, what movies I've watched so far, that sort of thing, want to see how I have it set up, how I keep track of them, let me know. But I'm hoping at the end of the year to do like a big review of what were the best ones, best directors, best cinematographers, that sort of thing. I have big ideas, but I'm actually doing pretty good on this. But this is helping make those goals. You see, killing 2 birds with 1 stone, which is a very violent metaphor. I will talk to you guys later in the next video. If you guys enjoyed this content, you can go ahead and like the video. You can go ahead and subscribe to the channel. You can go ahead and click that little notification, little bell thing. You can hang out with me. What are you doing?
Taking a video of your book.
Why?
Because it's cool.
If you say you're the type of person who, you and I are both antisocial and introverted, I'm assuming, so we can hang out without actually having to force ourselves into social interactions. My nose is itchy. I'm just gonna cut this part out.